Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping and wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing how to grow your business. I hope you can hear me because this hot tub is super loud, but you got a great view. I got a great room upgrade in Cabo, and I am in my hot tub in my room overlooking the ocean. It's pretty awesome. Okay, now, question today is, who can put a lien on a property? I know you're going to be looking at my nose only because I don't know if you can hear me. And this is probably going to be short because I don't know if anyone can hear me at all. So who can put a lien on the property? The real answer to who can put a lien on a property is you can put a lien on it. The owner of the property is most of the time going to put the lien on a property. So the most common lien is a mortgage, right? You're going to borrow money and you're going to sign paperwork. You're going to sign paperwork that says, I accept the fact that there's a lien on this property if I don't pay the note. So the two parts of a regular mortgage are a note, which is I have to pay back this amount of money with these terms. And then there's a mortgage in New York, which is called a deed of trust in other states, or a mortgage deed of trust in other states. And that's the lien that says we can enforce this lien if you don't follow the terms of the note. Now, how does this affect real estate? So in general, when you buy a property, you're gonna have to pay off when you buy a property, the seller has to pay off all the liens. So if the guy owes more than you're willing to pay, you have an issue, right? And that happens a lot, and that's something that you have to negotiate with the lender for a short sale. I don't like short sales in general. I do them, but they're difficult because you have to deal with an owner and then you have to deal with a lender. There are people who do them, and I have no problem with them, and I've closed a bunch of them. But to me, it's one extra party that you have to deal with. Now, there are other liens on properties. So there's something called a mechanic's lien. So a licensed, what are we talking about? Licensed contractor can put a mechanic's lien on a property, unfortunately, very, very easily, if he says that you didn't pay him. What happens, unfortunately, a lot is that you pay a GC, a general contractor, X dollars. The general contractor decides not to pay a subcontractor, let's say a plumber or an electrician, and that plumber or electrician can put a mechanic's lien on your property or a property you're looking to buy in a situation where you never even had an agreement with them. And that is a difficult thing. That comes up, unfortunately, a lot. You buy a property, you see a mechanic's lien, and the seller doesn't even know anything about it, doesn't even know what the person is, and you have to negotiate. And very often, you got to pay a guy off to get rid of the lien, even though you had nothing to do with not paying him. Now, what is important when you're talking about real estate is that all these liens are going to show up on the title report. So, for me, after I get a signed contract to buy something, I order a title report. Title report's going to show all the liens. Now, in other states, you very often are going to run a title report before you even go to contract if you're buying something at auction, because a lot of the liens are going to stay on after you close. In New York, one of the greatest things about New York is you always get clean title. No properties go subject to existing liens. Sorry, except in very rare situations. So, also, if you're trying to do subject to properties, let's just explain what a subject to is. And this is a good method. It works in 49 states. You buy a property and you keep the mortgage in place. And you make the payments, and then you figure out a way to get a cash flow positive. Maybe by putting tenants in who will pay you more than what's owed, or maybe you fix it up and then you sell it. And that works because there are some people who just want to walk away from a property, don't want to know about it. And in 49 states, you can get a title company that will say, sure, we'll sell it to subject to existing liens. In New York, it never works that way. The title companies don't run transactions in New York. So their job really is to only do two things: make sure the taxes are paid and make sure the liens are paid. So they're not going to let a lien stay in place, number one. Number two, there's a seller is represented by an attorney. An attorney is not going to recommend that his client sells the property and lets somebody else be responsible for the mortgage, because in the event that new buyer stopped paying the mortgage, I believe that attorney would be subject to a malpractice lawsuit and may actually lose. So, almost impossible to subject to. But one of the best things about New York is that you don't. Where's that bird coming from? You don't have to worry about any liens on the property because the seller's responsible to pay them off. Now, theoretically, I just had a deal where it said that there was a $2 million lien on it, and I said to the seller, is there a $2 million lien on it? Sometimes that shows up. It's like an SBA loan. The guy bought a business and they cross-collateralized all his property, but it was a typo. It was really $200,000 lien. So if it's something shows up, you want to maybe make sure the seller knows about it or see what the payoff is, and make sure it gets paid off. But you don't have to pay it off, and you don't have to be stuck with it. So that is a huge advantage of doing business in New York. You get everything free and clear. That is great. Now, there are other ways to put liens on property. So, for example, if I'm looking to buy a property, the seller changes their mind, I can put a lien on that property, a list pendants lien based on my contract. But an attorney has to do it, and if you're putting a list pendants on a property, if you do it wrong, there was no basis for it, the court's going to sanction the attorney who did it, and maybe you also. So you have to be careful. It's not a simple thing, but you need to show grounds for filing a list pendants, which is the same as when you go into a mortgage foreclosure, and it prevents the seller from selling to anybody else. So I would love to talk more, but I don't even know if you can hear a word I'm saying because this freaking hot tub is so loud. But I hope this was helpful. And if you are interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in my course that teaches how to do what I do, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. If you're interested in learning more about coaching, one-on-one coaching, you can go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any channel, please click like. I will be back in New York in a day or two. Looking forward to getting back to New York, even though it's nice here. And thank you. Oh, keep the comments coming. I go live 5 times a week, and sometimes have no idea what I'm going to talk about, so your questions and comments give me material to talk about. This was some of the questions, so I appreciate it. There are no bad comments, so you can ask me anything. It doesn't even have to be the video you're watching. If it's a simple answer, I'll respond. If it's something that I've covered recently or in depth, I will send you links to a video or videos on it. And if it's something new, I'll do a new video on it, which I really appreciate because I need material, because I feel like I've spoken about everything, and I know there are more things that I could help you with. So please keep the comments coming. I really appreciate you watching.